Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning or good evening, depending what time you're watching this video. It's Mr. Argueta coming to you week number 2 in our Intro to Business class in the summer. It is Tuesday morning right now, about 7:45 or so. I wanted to get this video out to you. I have 3 courses I've mentioned before that I'm teaching during the summer. So I got the video out yesterday for our Principles of Management group, and had a meeting and got busy, but I wanted to get this out to you this morning. This morning I am drinking out of my Ember cup. As yesterday, this cup is basically it's like a heated cup. It's a controlled temperature with my phone. It keeps my coffee at 145 degrees and basically maintains it like that until I'm done drinking it, which I love because I love my coffee hot. So cheers to you if you're drinking coffee or tea or whatever your choice of drink is. So let's talk about last week. We did pretty well. I'll be grading your discussions this week, so please allow about a week of a difference between the discussions and your grades, mainly because it takes me about a week to read through everybody's discussions. But this week we're going to be talking in our discussion the involvement in regards to the economy and businesses and what government not necessarily owes a small business, but what government can do. So tap into your thoughts of like the Keynesian economic views, or think about like how much involvement should a government have on the impact of business. And as you've already probably read in chapter 1, hopefully you read through the process of our system here, but early on in our country, there's this concept of what's called the invisible hand. And the invisible hand is essentially what we believe the free market's based on in regards to pushing prices down when there's competition. So, for example, if there's a grocery store, there's only one grocery store in your area, and everyone has to buy from that grocery store. So the owner of the grocery store, he can price his product at whatever he wants because he knows that it'll be more difficult for you to go to another town to buy your groceries. So essentially, he controls the price of that product in reason. But if right across the street another grocery store opens up, then he feels that pressure and the competition between the two. So what ends up happening is, let's say apples at the original grocery store cost $1. The new grocery store sells it for 75 cents. The original grocery store feels pressure and it begins to lower their price to what we consider to be a reasonable price where everybody's making a okay profit and not what's called economic profit, which is like exaggerated profits. So the price starts going down because competition creates this invisible hand, and consumers, we win because it pushes price to a level where businesses can still be profitable, but yet, we're still getting what we want and they're getting what they want, a profit, and they're not making a killing on it. But for example, products that are revolutionary or new or concepts for a long time before other businesses come in and try to get into that money or that profitable venture, they price their products out of control. Think back at, like, for some of you, when the technology of iPhones came out, the price of an iPhone was off the charts. Like you're spending all this money on it, and what essentially was happening to the iPhone was people were buying it at whatever cost Apple was selling it for. I apologize there. People were buying it for whatever Apple was selling it for. So it ends up being that, as competition comes in, it forces the manufacturers to lower the price and the consumer wins. So the other option is for government to control that. For example, in France, there's a set price for bread, a set price for baguettes. The government controls the price of bread. They tell the manufacturers or the bakers or whoever makes bread, you cannot sell bread at a different price. You have to sell it at a certain amount. So it creates this sort of controlled environment by the government to control the price of a certain thing. We don't believe in that market, or we don't believe in that type of thing. We believe in the free market. Anyone can go into business, create a product, and allow the invisible hand to control it. But in your opinion, especially what we just went through with COVID, what should the government do? Should they be bailing out people to maintain our economy? We see the results now. When I first posed this question, we were in the middle of this issue with the government bailing out companies. But now we see the aftermath of that. We see what happened. Our economy still has not recovered. We're still struggling. People are still trying to find jobs. Everyone assumes that there's all these jobs to be had, but realistically, the skilled jobs are the ones that are in need, not the everyday jobs. So it's difficult to find a job once you get to a certain level. They're just not available. Those are the jobs that are being cut. The jobs that are available are skilled jobs like welding, mechanics, nurses, skilled level jobs. But everyday jobs for everyday people, they're just not available. And then the higher you go up in your educational world, you'll find that the harder it is to get a job up there. So there's this sort of pocket in between. Some of you might be going to school, and the government of Georgia, the state government of Georgia said, hey, we're in such a demand for this workforce that we will pay for you to go to school. We'll pay your school. There's several programs like that under, I think they call it the Hope Grant. I'm not a financial aid advisor, so please don't take my word for that. But the government of Georgia will pay for people to go to school for certain jobs that are lacking in Georgia, which is a great way to get an education. But that being said, my question in this week's process is, how much should the government be able to help a business? Should the government step away from it, right? Should the government just say, hey, let business happen? Let the invisible hand occur. Let the free market flow freely. Let them, the businesses that are not going to make it, let them not make it. Then the other companies pick up and take their business and are more successful. Maybe we're oversaturated with businesses, and some of these people, like the survival of the fittest, need to be essentially weeded out. So, but I'm interested in your concepts of that. Okay. So, the other one that I highly recommend you take a look at is chapter 4. When people come to me and they ask me about, like, hey, I want to get started with a business, what do I do? What they're really talking about is this chapter 4 portion. It talks about the options for organizing a business in America, the advantages and disadvantages, incorporating a company versus sole proprietorship, or the LLCs and all the benefits that come with that. So I highly, highly recommend you read carefully through chapter 4, because it talks about what most people uh, come to you for when you have a business degree and they say, can you help me organize a business? I don't know how to incorporate a company. This sort of talks about why there's an advantage and a disadvantage in certain types of partnerships. So proprietors, of course, being people who just started their own business. But read through that. I think it'll be very advantageous for you. Other than that, this, as I mentioned, this goes very quickly. Guys, I want to make sure I let you know that we do not work behind, or I do not accept late work, nor do I open up ahead. So please make sure you're working on this week's assignments. I try to keep that, and I'll explain it down the road, but I try to keep that as concise as possible, because I don't want you to try to work on several weeks at a time. I just want you to focus on this week. But don't worry, I'm not the monster you think I am. I promise you it would make sense. It will make sense eventually. So keep working at it. I appreciate your hard work. I noticed a lot of people that have been in my classes, you know my pattern, you know how it works. So I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. Other than that, I hope you guys are having a great week. What do we got this week? This week I have, I'll be in Walker County tomorrow. And then Thursday I'll be in Rome at a company called Pirelli, doing training for them. And then Friday, I think I have a class on problem solving for industry. So there's a few things in the pipeline. There'll be a busy week this week, but the weekend looks clear, so I'm excited about that. Other than that, next Monday, I think we're off. And then next Tuesday, oh, I also wanted to mention, I wanted to mention this to you guys because I think it'll be advantageous for next couple semesters. I will be looking for active student, a student that would be interested in being part of our advisory board, our business management advisory board, which all it requires is for you to come in twice a year. Every 6 months or so, I feed you or we feed you here and we give you food and you hear where the program is going and how we're developing it. And we talk to other industry leaders that are part of the board. But I would love to have some student representation. So if you are a current student and you're interested, please email me, say, hey, I might be interested in it. My advisory board meeting will happen Tuesday. I know that's a very short notice, but it's in Dalton. I'll be having it in the Dalton campus in the morning at 10 o'clock. But you're not required to participate in this. This is an optional, but it would be nice to hear input from a student's perspective on the advisory board. So if that's something that you might be interested in, please email me and we'll get in contact. Other than that, I think that covers it. I'm trying to think. This week has been pretty booked with some corporate trainings and just different things. And other than that, it's been a nice, hot, back to that summer type of weather. I think that's it, guys. Other than that, today I'm drinking some Bustelo, which is like a Caribbean blend of espresso. I do that in the mornings typically, or I'll do an espresso in the afternoons. But that's about it. That's about it. I hope you're having a good time in class. I hope you're enjoying the information. And if you need me, please email me. If not, have a wonderful, wonderful time during this week. And I wish you the very best. Take care, everyone.